All right, welcome. Thank you for joining and thank you for tuning into this session on tutorials for Civil War 2, the sequel that doesn't exist, AI posters. So that's what we're going to do here today. So thank you for tuning in, wherever you're from, wherever you are. I'm Billy. I'm going to be your AI wizard, your AI guide here today. So I'm a visual AI creator and digital creative. This is a headshot of me. That's not actually me, actually. So quite another fun use case for AI. But I'm a visual AI creator and digital creative. I work full-time with AI art or digital creative, AI design, AI-aided design, call it whatever you want. But what we're going to do here today is that we're going to take a look at how I crafted some follow-up posters for the movie, which is in theaters right now, at least when this video is being recorded, for Civil War, the new A24 movie that got quite a bit of notoriety, quite a bit of buzz online with these AI posters. So this is the actual posters from the movie that they did. So the fun thing with these, or the interesting thing with this, is that the scenes that are happening here on the posters were not actually present in the movie. Some people thought that was, disingenuous. I thought it was quite interesting way of expanding on the universe, expanding on this kind of conflict that hasn't happened, but happens in the movie, and to show it in different places. So I kind of took that and ran with it and made some of my own, and extrapolating that as I'm Swedish, I'm born and raised in Sweden, so I took that and kind of had a European perspective on it. Okay, how, and tried to imagine with AI and some classic layout design principles, how would this look like in a European perspective? What could this look like? Extrapolating the idea of this civil war conflict in Europe. So today we're going to cover my entire art direction, AI and design process for crafting these Civil War 2 posters from conception all the way to output. We're going to do it in a step-by-step tutorial format where I'll explain my rationale. I kind of think out loud and talk you through why I'm doing things as well, not just clicking around, And I will also highlight which AI tools I'm using along the way. And I'll also talk to you about how I approach the kind of layout, the typeface selection, and the overall composition of putting these together. And why should you listen to me? Well, I'm a designer and creative with over 12 years of experience working with design. And also now I'm working full-time as an AI artist and creative. And if that's something you aspire to or would like to do, or just get comfortable with AI tools, I think I can teach you a few things here today. I'm also represented by some of the biggest agencies in the world, like MediaMonks, for my AI work, but also some of the most niched, most prominent AI niched agencies, such as Secret Level or Let's Be Frank here in Sweden. I produce prolific AI work for clients such as Intel and large whiskey brands and many others, and I also teach Sweden's very first course in visual AI tools over at Berg School of Communication. So that's a huge privilege and a big honor to do that. So I'm also a teacher, both in design and AI, which is kind of what we're going to do here today as well. So my work has also gone to me sponsorships and collaborations with players like Stability AI, which is the company behind Stable Diffusion, Magnific, Leonardo AI, and Lensco, just to name a few. Okay, I just want to also emphasize that this is my process, and I'll break down how I do things. And just take it for what it is. This is my way of doing it. If you have a better way or a different way of doing it, absolutely fine. I'm just going to show what works for me here today. Some might argue that there's better ways to do it, and that's absolutely fine. From how I prompt in Midjourney to manipulate things in Photoshop, absolutely fine. Everyone has to find their own way and ways of working when it comes to adopting these incredible tools. Keep in mind also that I encourage you to find your own way and adopt parts of the way I do things, but also combine that with your own ways of working. Just find your own way. So with that said, what you're going to need to follow along with this tutorial, you're going to need Midjourney. You're going to need an active account with a subscription, and preferably your own server. I don't encourage anyone to prompt in the newbie servers. It's absolute chaos. So please have your own server. If you don't know how to do that, I will link that in the video description for you to set that up. And you will also need some form of design tool. So I'm going to use Figma and Photoshop. You could use either or. You're gonna maybe need Photoshop to use the generative fill parts that I'm most likely going to use, and you could do the full assembly there. You don't need Figma if you don't want to. If you're on a budget, you could use GIMP or some other kind of similar free design tool. Sounds good? Okay, let's jump into the tutorial. So I thought we could kick things off by choosing a landmark, or choosing the place that we want to do. So let me just actually jump into Figma here and show you what I did. So again, these are the originals here on the top row. And I did a bunch of different versions. So I did playing on the Eiffel Tower, kind of at dawn, at night, during the day, on fire. I played with Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, with a tank and smoke and stuff. I did several of London, because there's just so many places. I also used to live there for 3 years, so I don't know, I had a lot of ideas for London. So Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, the Queen's Guard with its quite recognizable hats, and that creates a nice silhouette that's just very, very recognizable, and very, very thankful to work with. It has a big visual payoff. Then we have some Venice here. Figma is buffering, so there we go. Some iterations on Venice canals with some military boats. Leaning Tower of Pisa. Again, some variations on the same here, but all kind of in this, war-torn conflict. I did some tests with Stockholm. However, the landmark Globen, it's a big round ball, which is like an arena. It didn't really work, so I tried with some general street scenes to kind of get that Stockholm silhouette there. It turned out, quite okay. I did the Acropolis in Greece, in Athens. So some scenes here. They're probably not 100% visually accurate in terms of the layout and how the Acropolis actually looks, but I thought it was an interesting idea to try. This one as well, more of a first-person point of view, looking out from their bedroom window onto this, super famous landmark that is just going up in flames. I thought that was quite an interesting view as well. I did the Colosseum here in Italy. I know everyone probably knows that one, right? The symbol of ancient Rome. So a couple of different versions of different severity of conflict, you could say. One idea led to this paratrooper kind of thing that was kind of interesting. So with that said, those are done. Let's make a new one together. So what I've done here is I've just asked ChatGPT for, I'm doing a series of movie posters for a film about wars in Europe that never happened. I want you to suggest very recognizable landmarks in European capital cities that I can use for movie posters, like the Eiffel Tower, Venice Canals, Big Ben, Leaning Tower of Pisa, Buckingham Palace, and similar. But don't use these exact examples, give me a list of 10. Then you got Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, Acropolis in Athens, I already used that one, the Charles Bridge, Sagrada Familia, Colosseum. Then you can even go, give me 10 more. And certainly, here's 10 more. Royal Paris in Madrid, the Pantheon, the Duma, the Palace of Versailles. There's a bunch. There's a lot to choose from. If you would be live, if there was a live stream, we could vote which one you want to do. But let's pick something and just get going. So I had some going for the Colosseum. We could do that. We could do maybe the Louvre in Paris. Could be interesting. Everyone kind of knows that one. Maybe we can try the Louvre. So I'm just going to copy that to make sure I'm spelling it right. Go into Discord. And before we start prompting our asses off, let me just kind of explain my rationale for the prompt and the variations of this prompt that I used here. I mean, prompt's just a fancy word for, at this point of time with Midjourney 6, natural language. It's just an instruction to the model for getting what we want from it, right? So typically, natural language, you can just paint a scene with your words, just describe what's in your mind, what you're looking to get, and be, artistic. And you can use cinematographic language, which we're also going to use. You can use camera angles and lighting references and lens references and a bunch of different things to kind of get the cinematic look, which is what I'm after. It's a movie poster after all. So starting from left to right here in this prompt, using concepts like a 35mm cinematic shot. Just having that in the beginning will more or less trigger Midjourney on its kind of photographic training. I mean, Midjourney is trained on a bunch of cinematographic and photographic images in the data set. I mean, it's like, what is it, over 5 billion images. So to get that look, that can be a quite good starting point to do. You could do 60mm, 70mm IMAX. There's lots of different films types you can reference, but 35mm is a very common one. So you're starting off with a 35mm cinematic shot of, in this case, I'm describing the scene here, the squadron of military paratroopers in parachutes landing on the street in, even a spelling mistake there, but that didn't matter so much, in front of the Colosseum in Rome, shot from the street level, cinematography in the style of Christopher Nolan. So that's quite interesting. Using those type of parts of the prompt as well, cinematography in the style of, even though Christopher Nolan would never make this movie, he's never done this movie, Stephen King hasn't either, or whoever you want to use depending on what, it will just kind of help trigger Midjourney's photographic or cinematographic capabilities, so to say. It doesn't steal anything from Christopher Nolan because he's literally never made this, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm sure he'll be fine. It helps us create something nice looking and cinematic looking. So you have that, then you have shot at a beautiful morning dawn with stunning orange and light pink sky in the background. Cinematic lighting. And then another cinematographic trick here, taken with the Arri Alexa XT with a Hawk V Light Vintage 74 lens, capturing the details. Anamorphic lens. Stuff like that, referencing very, very specific camera types won't get you that exact camera type. And if you would like, A/B test this with different, different film cameras of this caliber, you probably would have just very similar results. But what it does, it also just helps to trigger Midjourney's cinematic capabilities. So that's like another thing I tend to add. Then there's even a double cinematic lighting here. So, not a perfect prompt by any means, but it got me what I wanted. And that's the point here. As long you can do this in any way you want, take snippets of how I do it and use it in your own way. The point is not to prompt. The point is to get a nice image that we can do something with. Either if it's for a personal project or if it's for a campaign for a client or whatever it might be. So that's the point. Here we have the prompt, and I'm gonna copy parts of it, and then we're gonna go and do some stuff. So I'm just doing imagine in Midjourney, I'm on a Mac, so that's shift / and I'm gonna copy in the prompt here, and I'm gonna start building this out. So a 35mm cinematic shot of the Louvre is what we wanted, right? Let me see. Yeah, let's get this out of the Louvre. I'm just gonna double check that I'm spelling that right. The Louvre in Paris. Shot of the Louvre in Paris exploding. Let me see what else we can think about. That's a nice scene here. So now I'm just kind of thinking about what I want to see. So the Louvre is exploding. Already there, we got something. So let's do a cinematic shot of the military special. So let's actually do back shot. Other quite nice cinematic reference to have a back shot of, shot from the back. That's what that is. Quite explanatory. Back shot of the military special forces squadron running towards the Louvre in Paris, exploding. Shot from the street level. Yeah, maybe we can have a nice morning dawn with stunning orange light, because you have this horrible conflict going on. You have this explosion, but then you juxtapose that with something, maybe there's a beautiful sky in the background. It's really nice colors to have that contrast of horrible and beautiful. I think that can be quite interesting rather than just having everything super dark and super gritty. You can, of course, do whatever you want, but this is just talking you through my process. We can take away the extra cinematic lighting here. We don't need that. What we do need is we're gonna need dash style raw, tends to just be great for photorealism and cinematic stuff. So I always use style raw for this type of shots. We're gonna need an aspect ratio, and I'm gonna do 2:3. As you can see, these one are 1:2, but the thing with Midjourney aspect ratios is that a lot of times, if you use very, very wide ones horizontally or very, very wide ones vertically, is that the composition gets a bit messed up. Stuff just doesn't sit dynamically right, to me, in my eye at least. So what I tend to do is that I start with a more common aspect ratio, not so slim or not, on any direction, horizontally or vertically, and then I would expand. Then I would expand it after I've got the composition right, or take it into Photoshop and just add more, which we're most likely gonna do it. I have had to do it on more or less every one of these posters. So that's what we need, and we're ready to hit enter. And we're gonna see what comes up. So these are some of the ones I was working on before. Let me queue up some, actually, get some prompts going. So let's do we did the Louvre, right? Then we can do maybe the Notre Dame Cathedral. So let me copy that in. Cinema, not point of view. Let's get cinematic shot of the Notre Dame Cathedral exploding in Paris at night, perhaps this time, burning the debris and cars in front. What else do we want to see? Maybe a tank firing. Tank firing, maybe. Maybe that's okay. And French military in, what would you say? Engaged in battle in front of the cathedral. Stunning night sky with beautiful, again, same kind of concept here of gritty and beautiful for some contrast. I'm just gonna move myself down a bit. Beautiful clouds in the background. Let's copy some of these because I want the same. Yep. Let's get rid of the extra one, and let's do 2-3 as well. And then I'm gonna copy this whole thing, enter, do it again. Maybe we can take away the tank, just have the French military, that, and maybe one more time a cinematic shot of the, again, let's do the French military special forces. Oh no, let's do the French. Let's have the riot police in riot gear. Cinematic. Let's do backshot of the French riot police in riot gear, in conflict with hundreds of demonstrators in front of the. We can have maybe in front, maybe not. So let's keep the tank in front of the. Okay, we don't need to have. Maybe we can skip those actually. See what happens. All right, now we have a few. We're gonna go jump to present and watch these queue up here. Okay, here we have the Louvre. So this one is inaccurate. It doesn't look like that. I've been to the Louvre, so that one doesn't work. We're not getting a lot of explosion. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna maybe maybe we can do number 1. Terry forces with rifles, because I couldn't really see the guns. Let's have that. Running towards the Louvre on fire and exploding with a big explosion. Let's put a little weight on that as well. So that turns out. Okay, move on. Here we have the Notre Dame. Yeah, a little bit messy. There's something to this one. However, it doesn't really look like this. These are all a bit too chaotic for me, so I'm gonna skip that. Let's move on to this. Yeah, not really sure. Let me see here. Riot police. Okay, we have the riot police, but we don't really have... So we have to rethink this one. So let's do like a violent demonstration or something. Cinematic. Let's skip back shot. Let's just have a shot of the French police in riot gear. Let's do the violent demonstration in front of the burning Notre Dame Cathedral. Oops. The French riot police engaged in conflict with hundreds of demonstrators, burning cars on the side. See how that goes. Okay, here we have a new Louvre. So unfortunately it got the Eiffel Tower kind of burnt down and it missed the Louvre. Okay, interesting. We'll run this one again, maybe without the weight. See how it goes. And sometimes it just doesn't work. You have to rethink your thing. You have to rethink your shot. The what do you say? The landmark you chose just doesn't work out well visually, or can be many things that goes wrong. Happens all the time. So let me see here. Notre Dame. No, kind of looks like people are just queuing up. No, didn't really work. Let me just try something else. This is very much a creative process of the exploding and burning Notre Dame. The French military with tanks and soldiers in front of the building. See how that goes. Okay, back to the Louvre. Okay. Too bad you got 2 here, because this looked kind of accurate. Maybe we can run a version of 2. And we can run... I like the colors of number 4. But I think we're going to remove this building. Yeah, see how that goes. I'm going to hit vary region here. And just see if we can get rid of this for a better look. So let me just get a new window up here and do the Louvre Paris just to have a look. Yeah, I tend to, it's a big kind of the palace behind here, and it's kind of flanked by two, but you wouldn't see those, so it would kind of be an open view of the soldiers running towards it. So yeah, so it's good to just be thorough. Yeah, so you kind of wouldn't see that. There's a nice light on these. Still wants to get the building in there. Can you, just try that again. clean up some of the prompts. Sometimes works when you do that. See how that goes. Okay, then we have Notre Dame. Yeah, this is a bit more interesting. Yeah, here's something. Yeah, can do some version. I don't know about this water here, but this has a nice look to it otherwise. Kind of a demonstration outside of these. Shot of the big demonstration outside there. So let's try that on number 1. And on number 2, I think I like that one, so we can try that. What's going on here? Yeah, right, that's what's these. So the same thing here, right? You have these buildings kind of in the way that wouldn't be there. And the Louvre is a little bit small. Yeah. Try maybe number 4 and see if we can get that building out. Here's something happened. Yeah, we can continue on number 4 and see if it wants to help us get rid of the building. Midjourney screwed that one up a little bit. So let's see here if we can get this out, because I like the lighting and composition overall on that one. Let's try this one as well and see if we can get this sucker out. We're gonna have to lose the soldiers there as well. Let's see how that goes. And here we have Notre Dame on fire. Tons of cars in front of it. Oh, I mean, can do some versions of number 2. Big demonstration, big violent demonstration. Big riot, police. See how that goes. Okay. Yeah, I like this one. There's something interesting here. I like the cars, the debris, the explosion, the light, the dynamic part of this. I know right away, since I have the layout, we haven't gotten there yet, we're getting there, of the title at the bottom, and I typically don't want a lot of elements around that. I want free space to let that breathe and let that have some air. So what I know that I'm gonna do is to elongate the picture downwards with the arrow, down arrow. Yeah, I'm just looking at these again. Not really nailing the building. Another weird attempt here. Here you have some kind of policing fire and stuff. Not sure we want to go that far. So maybe not that. But here we have the elongated one downwards. I would say this one works kind of well. Number 3. So let's use number 3. Okay, now we have a quite nice image of the Notre Dame exploding with like cars and stuff in front of it. I think this one can turn out quite nice. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna save this image. Yeah, save it to my downloads. And then let's do a cut here. I'm just gonna go into Leonardo. Going into Leonardo, drag in my image. Make sure you set it to cinematic. So this is just to show you what I'm doing. I'm in Leonardo Universal Upscaler right now. So if you're not on Leonardo, there will be a link for you in the description where you can get, I believe they still have the freemium, you can get a free trial to get started. Otherwise, I think it's one of the better AI tools worth paying for, not only for the creative upscaler that I think is quite phenomenal actually. So you come into Leonardo and you hit Universal Upscaler. Here you have a quite simple upscaler, but it's really, really efficient once you get your hang of the settings. So all you do is you drag in your image. So I'm in Finder here, dragging in my image, uploading it, choosing cinematic, something like 5, maybe 6, 7. After that, it tends to get like too uncanny valley crisp, at least for my taste. So that's typically where I keep it, around 5 to 7. Now they're queued up here and upscaling. While that happens, I'm gonna continue and check here in Midjourney to see. So let's just run this again, and let's try this. Let's see if we can get this out of here first, and then continue improving on the image perhaps, because I still like this one. You can do very strong on that one, see what happens. Just to have more than one poster. Okay, let's check back on Leonardo, and we're done. This is number 7, quite sharp. I'm just gonna check out number 6 and number 5. I think number 7 looks quite nice. Yeah, you see all this extra detail in the smoke and on the cars in the reflections. It does a really good job of adding detail. It's a creative upscaler, so it's gonna add stuff that doesn't exist, but yeah, did the job here in what we want. So now I'm in Figma. Again, you can do this in Photoshop. You don't have to use Figma. I just think it's a very, very simple, efficient, easy tool that you can use. They still have a free version as well if you want to use it. You use GIMP or whatever you want. It's not so important. All you need is to have an artboard, or in Figma they're called frames, where you can put the text and stuff to play around with it. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to make a copy here, and we're just going to call it Notre Dame posters, not the dram, Dame posters, and drag down a copy here, Notre Dame 1. Okay, and I'm gonna delete this one. So what I've done in terms of typography and layout is that I've stayed somewhat close to the original ones up here, having this sans serif kind of slime green almost title down here. I mean they're using a special font with this A here that's asymmetric and stuff, and but it's something like a Futura or a sans serif if you don't can't bother finding this exact font. I'm using one of my favorite fonts called Humane. It's a really, really cool font. You can get it for free over at Behance. You can give him a shout out. Behance Humane font. All you do have to Google that. There it looks like this. Rajesh. Shout out to Rajesh. Super good, super nice font. You can get it for free. Absolutely incredible font. So big recommend there. But okay, now, and I just, Civil War II, Europe's next. Then I just played with these made up names here, put even my own name in there, in a kind of movie poster way. So I've had, it's also in Humane. So I have this one in, this is uneven number now, but I'm not so fussed by typographic rules on this little project. But let's say this is 11 points and this is like 26 or 25. Just have a nice type contrast. And this one is in regular and this one is in light. Same typeface but different fonts. So light and regular, just have some contrast between them. And then Europe is next, also in regular. Then I put a gradient here to get better foreground background separation once the image goes in. Some I downloaded the upscaled one from Leonardo. I'm just going to chuck that in and shrink it down, something like that, center back, and there we are starting to get something. I'm going to bump this up to 75 and just play around a bit here. I don't want this Civil War to be too crowded but I like this as a composition. Yeah, it's quite nice. I think we have our first one. Dramatic, recognizable. That's kind of what you want, right? Okay, let's see what's happening in Midjourney. Let's go back. Okay, here we have our additional Louvre ones. A bit too gradienty, a bit too much light going on overall. Okay, these are still weird. That's annoying. Let's try number 4, a very region on that. See if like third time's the charm on that one. Something a bit odd is going on here as well. So let's try to sort that out. Hopefully now. Let's see what happens there. Otherwise we can run the Louvre again. Let me do that. Snag the whole prompt. Yeah. And I'm gonna use that one as like a style reference, the one we like. Yeah, not the weird one. Let's use this one. Copy link. sref. Chuck that in. Style weight maybe 500. See what happens. Here we have some results. It added a statue, a weird thing. Okay, let's try number 3. The region. I could probably also get this into Photoshop soon because I kind of want to use this one. I want one with the Louvre. It's nice, recognizable. But we want a nice image, not something weird. So let's see how this turns out. Okay, here we have some new results. Not a big fan, way too gradienty, just doesn't get it right, unfortunately. And it insists on getting some triangles and stuff in there, which is quite annoying. I'm wondering if I can salvage maybe number 2. Let's try that. Let's get number 2. Yeah, let's do that one. And I'm gonna try this in Photoshop instead. So let me open with Photoshop and let's get our, just gonna do this really quick and dirty. Whoops, that's not at all what I wanted to do. Okay, obviously I'm clicking too fast. All right, so I'm gonna hit generate without typing anything because I found that when you do that with generative fill, it tends to just interpret it as like remove, and it works quite well. You could write remove in the prompt, you could write erase. Sometimes I've gotten an eraser in there, or sometimes I got like a cleaning guy, which is not at all what I wanted. So I've just found that leaving it empty is usually quite good. And let's see what happens here. Okay, did an all right job. Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with this one. I'm gonna merge those. Oops. I'm gonna actually move myself because I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, merging those. There's something else that needs our attention here. This little weird thing here. I don't like these little blobs here, so I'm just using spot healing brush. A bit too harsh, perhaps. I suppose these are like little embers, but I don't really like how they look. This one made a weird blob here, so I'm just gonna get that one out of the way. There's something weird here as well, some serpentine things that we should get rid of. Yeah, spot healing, fantastic. Okay, I can see right away that I'm gonna want more, like I said, more content at the bottom, more just extend the image to have that, yeah, not so tight with the title, the Civil War title. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like this. Then I'm gonna go with my trusted magic wand. Just select here. Just selecting this one and then going modify, expand. 5 pixels is my default value. Usually works on the raw image from Midjourney. If you have something a bit more high fidelity, you might need to change it. Although, an observation on generative fill, what I've found is that you don't want to use it on upscaled images, like really upscaled to Leonardo or Magnific, because Photoshop generative fill at this point in May 2024, when this is recorded, there will be like a pixel density mismatch. So you will end up with having something like a stitch line. You will see where you added content with. There will be like a difference in pixel density, which is kind of not what you want usually. So I would always do all the tweaking I need with generative fill on the image before I upscale. So that's what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna hit OK. I'm gonna hit generative fill, leave it blank, and it does the same thing there as with removing things. It's just gonna add it in quite nicely. It usually does a really good job of extending the image. You can, right, extend. I just, from a lot of trial and error, found that leaving it blank works best. Easy peasy. So an absolute wonderful tool for image generation, manipulation, creation. So shout out to Adobe for that. Okay, let me see here. You always get 3 options. Very similar. I think I like number 1 more. Yeah, I like number 1. Or do I? Yeah, I like number 1 more. Hit merge. I'm going to remove this little, oops, didn't merge. Remove this little plop down here and this little thing. And I think this could be a little bit distracting, this irregularity in the tiles. Again, attention to detail. At least for me, that's a really important part. You know, you as an AI creator, artist, designer, whatever you want to call yourself, always do a lot of passes on your images. Always have a look again, and the relook. You might have missed something. You know, it's our responsibility to deliver nice, high quality images where everything is just right. If you upscale your stuff, you know, you will find weird stuff going on. Some stuff, I mean, upscale as in Leonardo or Magnifique, or even though they're fantastic tools, there's going to be irregularities in there. So now the tiles are looking much better. I'm going to merge them and just do this little, maybe I'm going to zoom in actually and just do some spot healing instead. See how that works. It doesn't really work. I'm a bit too lazy to do this like the fancy way. Just want it kind of quick and dirty. It works all right. Yeah. Just wanted that tile to look better. Something going on here. All right. I think this is gonna work. I think this is gonna be quite nice. Save. And you maybe guessed it, we're going back to Leonardo. So now this is the updated one, just chuck it in there. Leave it at the 7 and maybe a 6 as well. See how this goes. And we're done. Yeah, maybe 6 is looking better. I mean, 7 is sharp and nice, but I'm not something with the smoke, how it looks on them here, that I'm not sure about. Is this something we want to address in Photoshop? Maybe I can give this a very quick try and see how this is gonna look. Not at all sure how this is gonna look. It just kind of looks weird on the image. So, and again, I'm clicking too fast. Okay, yeah, okay, this might be better. Let's go with this one. Maybe let's do the same here. Clicking along, rough and dirty, but sometimes that just works. see, this is a little weird. How did that turn out in Leonardo? Just kind of extended it into a flap. Guess we can get rid of that. Yeah, I think the smoke will probably look a bit better. Can touch that up a bit manually as well. So it's kind of a silhouette anyway. That probably work well. Let's get rid of this. Again, if you're not using spot healing brush for your quick and dirty Photoshop, you should make sure it's set to content aware as well. Really good for these quick and dirty Photoshop fixes. Okay, let's save this again. Chuck it in Leonardo. Like the 7, maybe we can even treat ourselves to an 8 and a 6, just to see what happens to get a spread. I'm gonna try one more thing. Something that works sometimes. We can do exploding, explosion. Let's try at night as well. And let's do cinematic symmetrical. Then you'll, it's kind of self-explanatory, but this shot will be more symmetrical. Let's do symmetrical composition. I forgot to mention that also earlier when I talked about the prompt. You probably already know this, but Midjourney tends to work in chronological order in terms of prompt adherence or importance of the prompt. So putting stuff in the beginning that are really important tends, it's an effective way to put more emphasis on that. Of course, you can put emphasis with relative weights and many other ways as well, but Midjourney tends to work from left to right. That doesn't mean what's at the end is unimportant. It just means that what's in the beginning tends to be more important. However, the whole thing will be considered as a, full picture piece when you hit enter. With that said, if things are not turning out as you want, try moving something to the more of the beginning of the prompt and switching out the order. Sometimes that actually does the trick. So I'm gonna just try this one and see, and let's check our Leonardo. Usually this is how my workflow is, that I have something going in Discord, in Midjourney, something on being upscaled. So it tends to add people here. Maybe that's not a huge problem. Nah, I guess that looks alright. There's some weird opening there. I don't think the Louvre has that. Maybe we can leave that for now. Yeah, let's go with this one. It's a bit on the uncanny valley crisp, but I think it can work still. So I'm downloading it, going into Figma. Here I can just double click on my copy that I did, choose image, and chuck it in. Oh, not too shabby. This dramatic morning, the Louvre on fire, Let me see here actually if it's, yeah, we can scale this down actually. Let me see, get some more image in. Yeah, there we go, that's nice. Like how the smoke kind of frames the whole composition. Can we move it up just even more, a tiny bit? Oh, quite nice. Let's see what's happening in Discord. Interesting. Something interesting with this one, kind of the point of view. Should we try this one as the last ditch attempt? And we are we gonna zoom out? We can try a zoom out and we can try it down as well to see what happens. I know we're approaching the hour here, so thank you if you made it this far into the video. Really appreciate it. I hope you had fun with me. I hope you got inspired or learned something, or inspired you to try this, make your own posters. And I mean, let me know if you think this is interesting, if you want to see more of these, if you want to see more posters, if you want to see a part 2. We can make more landmarks from Europe, from maybe South America, somewhere else. We can do record covers, we can do Spotify canvases, we can do whatever you want. So I'll make sure there's a way for you to feedback what you'd like to see more of. So let me see here what happened. We extended down. And here we zoomed out. I think the zoom out works better. Yeah. Which one should we have? Let's go number 4. Let's do some versions just to see. I'm wondering if this one is going to be a bit messy, but I'm going to chuck it in the upscaler and just see what happens. Sometimes also what can help with Leonardo, with the universal upscaler, is to just chuck your prompt in there for the prompt guidance. So you have this little toggle down here, prompt guidance, optional. You don't have to write it. All these turned out very well without it. Sometimes just for the, we can do a little test here. Just chuck that in, bump up 7, see what happens. Okay. I like number 3. I like number 1. Yeah, let's do 1 and 3. We are gonna have to zoom out on both. Just free up some more space. Nice, some surprises here at the end, which is fun. Our upscaler is working hard. Let's check back here. They're coming along. Yeah. Yeah, it's got something to it. Okay. Let's try. Chuck it into Figma. I'm gonna make a copy. I do that by holding Shift Option and then I just drag out a new copy, which is quite nice. I'm just gonna hit, I can actually delete this. Whoops. Just the image. Chuck in my upscaler, my upscale image, just to see how it sits in the composition. I'm suspecting there's gonna be problems. Or maybe not. Maybe there's something interesting here. Yeah. Let's keep it as an option. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Okay, that's that one. Let's see how these are going. Here you got some weird equipment. Bag is a bit excessive. The bag looks weird there. Soldiers are a bit weird here. So maybe number 1 is the best bet on that after all. And for this one, comes a wounded soldier there. I guess that's debris. Could turn out really weird in the upscaler, I have a feeling. I like the pose here on the soldier, or this kind of more, wide-legged. So let's try number 3. We're gonna need more down on this one, I think. So let's do a down arrow. Yeah, we're gonna need some vary region here. I think this could look just really off in. Just touch up some stuff. Yeah, this is looking good. Interesting. Can we borrow some style reference maybe from at night? Maybe we can try this one. And we can run, let's do a very subtle here. sref style wave 700. See what happens. Again, an idea leads to an idea. You can combine. I like the lighting from that old Notre Dame one. Maybe we can combine it with this one and see what happens. An idea leads to an idea, leads to an idea. Now we have kind of the full soldier. Yeah. number 4 there. We're gonna need to vary region on his backpack because there's something a little weird going on here. Let's get that out of the way. Maybe a bit much debris. Yeah. Let's get that going as our last option here. I mean, quite interesting light on this one. I like it. Yeah, I like number 2. And then we have our little friend here. Yeah, debris is gone. Nice. That's the number 1. Let's do a downer to extend it downwards. I think this one has... This could look a bit weird. Maybe we can... Is he holding the gun a bit odd? Yeah, let's do very subtle here and see if this can be fixed somehow. Otherwise we just leave it. Here we have the backpack fixed. Nice, okay, let's do number 1. Let's download this, see how it's gonna look in our upscaler. The other ones are on the way. Okay, so while we wait for that one, let's chuck this one in. I can leave it at 7, tends to work pretty well for these, I believe. Which one was that? It was this one. So this one is waiting for a downer. These are a bit cheesy. Yeah, I don't like those. Yeah, let's just settle for this one. Or we can try to lose the weird elements on this. I think that gun just doesn't work perspective-wise. The smoke is a bit distracting. Okay, here we have that last one. His pose is a bit weird, but I don't think that's gonna matter because we're not gonna need to see that in the image. He's got some weird extra equipment there we're gonna need to get rid of, so let's get rid of that. That's the last thing on this bad boy. Let's check in with our upscaler. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, the gun becomes like one thing here. We're gonna have to bump that down and see. We can also skip the prompt adherence. Let's try a few options. Let those do their thing. And here we have an improved backpack. Yeah. Sure, we can do number 3 maybe. And how are things looking here? Yeah, I mean, worth a shot. Worth a shot. Weird, looks like it does the peace sign here. Let's try number 1. Download these. Maybe this one's gonna need an extend down. Yeah, I know, I'm never satisfied. I know. Let's see these. How are these going? Yeah. Crisp. Yeah, let's just go with this one. I just want to see how this looks. Okay, I'm gonna hit double click. Get the image in there. Oh, something interesting. It's a bit messy. Maybe we can bump this up to like 85 opacity. Let's do another one for our other fellas in the upscaler that we're gonna throw in now. So this one, let's bump this up to 7. We can have the prompt adherence, maybe an 8, maybe skip it as well and go down to 6. And yeah, then we have our last one, stuck on 35. We'll see if it makes the cut. But in an hour, we had 4 quite interesting options here. We have the Notre Dame at night with this very nice composition here. This one is probably my favorite as it stands now. You have the Louvre, you have the fire, you have the smoke, you have this beautiful sky. Just that kind of juxtaposition and the tension in the shot that I like. Plenty of space here for the title to breathe. This one has this nice kind of over the shoulder look, which I like. I like this one more than this one. And then we're gonna see what the final things are looking at like. Here we have this one. This, a bit too sharp perhaps. Let's go with number 1 there. And how's it going here? Hi, interesting. Here we got a bunch of things added. That's the number 1. Added in something there. Get rid of some of that smoke, see what happens. While we wait for that, we can chuck in our latest upscale here. So again, this is typically how I do it. If you want to do it a bit more method, a bit more structured, absolutely fine, do that, do what works for you. But yeah, these are similar, but you know, there's something, maybe if we extend it a bit like this, so the soldier guy is more central in the kind of focal point here, then the Louvre gets a bit too far out. You kind of want that in the center, so that's a tricky balance to achieve when you play with this stuff. But yeah, not too shabby. Something there. The Louvre blowing up and military looking confused. We can screw that. Just gonna have this weird little logo artifact there. Let's chuck this in. Yeah, it's the right one. Can I have the prompt? Here it's on. See what happens. And then drag out. So in an hour we've done 5 so far, soon to be 6. We just have to wait for the final upscaler here. So I hope you had as fun as I had. I can get lost for hours doing this, hours. An idea leads to an idea leads to an idea. You borrow an sref from there. Play around. I will release more tutorials that are beginner friendly. I think this is probably an intermediate to advanced. I'm not explaining things like aspect ratio. I'm not explaining style reference. I'm using things here that I think if you're used to these tools, you're more proficient and you get them. I'm gonna snag this one as the final, but there is more to come. So let me know if that's interesting to you, and I'll speed up on those. Just chucking this one in there just to see. All very similar, these over-the-shoulder ones, but quite interesting. It's had a bit of a battlefield look to it. I don't know why. Like as the game, quite nice. I think like this one best out of the final 4 here so far. Like. Try to get him a bit more in the middle, but without losing too much of the Notre Dame. Yeah, nice. Okay, there's our final. We have Notre Dame, we have the Louvre exploding in all kinds of ways. So I hope you had a fun, educational Midjourney design time with me. As you see, there's no pushing a button and it's all just done. There's generative fill, there's fixing, there's extending, there's upscaling, there's composition, there's typography choice, there's colors, all these things coming together to create the final thing. So Thank you so much for listening, for tagging along. Oops, that was not supposed to happen. Great having you. Again, feedback in what you'd like to see more of. If you had fun with this one, we can do more movie posters, record covers, Spotify canvases, whatever we want. So take care, have a creative AI time, and see you in the next one. Ciao.